The Transportation Research Center at Ohio State did a study of 60 drivers over 6,500 miles, highway and city, to see how they manage the car ahead. First, they tended not to focus on how close that vehicle is, nor how fast they were traveling. They did tend to focus on the rate of gap change. When it's steady, we tend to get complacent and look elsewhere, as if the car ahead would never brake because it isn't now.
The study found that glances away, when we are following a car directly in front of us, go anywhere from 1/10 of a second to about a full second, which is substantially shorter than when we're driving and don't have a vehicle directly in front of us, and then it's more like 1.6 to 2 full seconds. But that behavior fails to take into account a lot of things, like what the driver in front of us sees, which we can't see, and also their braking behavior. Do they ride the brakes? Do they moderate them nicely? Do they stab on them only at the last minute when they need to? We get our distance following cues and our prompts to look ahead at the car in front of us in 3 major categories.
First, there's geometry. Things like intersections ahead, grade changes, rail crossings approaching. Those are all fixed things we can see or that are called out by graphical signage. Then come augmenting cues. Here's where you'll find brake lights. Considered augmenting because information you get from brake lights ahead will vary by how the driver uses their brakes. It's not real rigid data. Finally, there are primary cues. This is your own spatial and depth perception of the car ahead and that change in distance and speed.
So 2 major takeaways. First of all, remember that old 1 car length for every 10 miles per hour of speed rule you've been ignoring since the week you got your license? Turns out it's pretty good. And secondly, since a lot of us don't take into account the gap to the car in front of us, nor the speed at which we're following, we need vehicle-to-vehicle technology to get in there to more elegantly moderate between vehicles on the road. Right now, we're really putting the gap at a fixed level, even though the dynamics change a lot at different speeds and different amounts of space. As we wait for V2V technology to arrive, a simpler, somewhat cruder technology is becoming more common today, and that is forward collision detection and automatic collision avoidance braking. It's kind of a sledgehammer approach that fixes the bad situations we put cars into in follow distance while we're mostly asleep at the switch.